Hi everybody! In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw a realistic mouth. Just like in other step-by-step videos, you can pause and play as much as you need to keep up with the instructions. Remember to use your growth mindset and have fun with it. You just need a pencil and paper for today. And the first thing I'm doing is I'm just going to show you a few different types of mouths. So no need to follow along, just watch for right now. And just like with our noses and our eyes, everyone has different mouths, so there's going to be different shapes, thicknesses, and things like that. So this mouth I'm drawing here has a really curvy look to it. Some people might have a more straight mouth with thinner lips. Some people may also have more full lips, and some people have a fuller bottom lip but a thinner upper lip. And those are just some of the many possible varieties. Whenever I'm drawing lips, I always start with the crease in between your lips, or really where the opening of your mouth is. And this line will usually be the darkest part of your lips. So as you can see, it's kind of a curved shape that almost looks like a couple of mountains. Some people's will be less curvy, some people's will be more straight. It really just depends on the person. And now I like to start the bottom lip right in the middle and just figure out the thickness of that. The higher up that line is, the thinner the lip. The lower, the thicker the lip. And now I will draw my upper lip. Again, I am just trying to figure out the thickness. And this line almost mimics the first line that I drew. So it has kind of a divot in the middle and two curves that go upwards. Notice I'm drawing really lightly because a really heavy line outside of your lips makes them appear flat and not 3D. And you may have noticed that I didn't connect the lips to the mouth right away. That's just because I wanted to take some time to make sure I got the thinness and the thickness of my lips correct. But I do like where they're sitting now, so I'm going to go ahead and just lightly connect my lips to the corners of my mouth. As you can see, I'm still using a pretty light line. I'm not drawing super dark or pressing super hard, and I'm still kind of sketching. Like I said earlier, having a really dark line to outline your lips does not look realistic. Now that I'm happy with the shape of my lips, I'll start adding value. The first thing I'm doing is I'm just going over that line right in the middle because, like I said, that is the darkest part of my drawing. And what I'm going to do next is just add a couple of guidelines to kind of show me where I'll add value very lightly. First, I'm adding kind of a circular shape that fits right in that space, in that kind of divot on the upper lip. And now I'm adding a couple of almost parentheses. So right where the curves of my lips start to curve downward, I added some parenthesis-shaped lines. And now I can start adding value. The darkest area is going to be in the corners of my mouth, and it will get a little bit lighter towards those parentheses that I added. And just because the parentheses are there doesn't mean that's exactly where you'll stop value. It just kind of guides you a little bit. And as you're shading your lips, just remember that the parts that are closer into your face are going to have a darker value because they're in shadow, and the parts that stick out more will be where your highlight is. So one part that starts to curve inward is the bottom of my bottom lip. I will add some value there to show a shadow. And also, just underneath the top lip, at the beginning of the bottom lip, there's also going to be a little bit of a shadow from your top lip casting onto your bottom lip. And there's kind of like a basic shape for my value. And now I can just go back in and kind of darken the areas that should be a little bit darker and make sure that I'm showing that form. And my upper lip will follow a very similar pattern to my lower lip. I'm going to have a highlight in the middle, and closer to the corners is going to be the darkest area. As you can see, I am using pretty light pencil strokes, and I don't want to show a lot of lines right now. Some people like to draw the lines to show texture of your lips, but that will kind of naturally occur with the way that you're shading. I'm also adding a bit of a longer shadow along the lip line on my top and bottom lip. So right where your mouth is, there would be a little bit more of a shadow on both your lips. And right now there's like a very clear border of where my highlight starts and stops. So I'm gonna go ahead and just use my finger and blend everything out a little bit. And then once I'm done blending, since that tends to soften it a little too much, I'm gonna go back in and just pull out some more of those values. And right now my shadow on my lower lip is looking very medium, but I want it to be a little bit darker, so I'm just going over that one more time. I'm also darkening the corners of the mouth. There would be a bit of value there, and you'll notice the corners of my mouth go out wider than my lips. That is generally normal when it comes to lip shapes. I'm also using my pencil and a little bit of value to define the top lip a little bit more. And I'm bringing down the color of the highlight a bit. And I added a shadow underneath the lip, but I'm actually going to end up erasing that later because it doesn't end up looking that great. But you can see that on my top lips, I still have kind of a defined line, but I don't want an outline on my lips, so I'm going to carefully erase that. So all you see is just the value. And same with the bottom lip. Getting rid of that outline really helps it look more 3D. And from here on out, I'm just going to be accentuating a few more values. So I'm making the corners of my mouth even darker. I'm pulling out a little bit more detail by adding some of those lines. Be really careful not to make super dark lines though, that'll make your lips look really chapped. And as I'm going, I'm blending and erasing as I need. And darkening as I need as well. And I'm trying to create that contrast. Remember that contrast in values is what's going to really give something some form. And here I am erasing that bottom line because it was a little bit too far down, but there will still be a shadow on the very bottom of your bottom lip. And remember at the beginning how I said that your first line, the space in between your lips, is going to be the darkest? That is still true. So I'm just darkening that area a little bit. And now I'm going to go ahead and add the details around the mouth, and I want you to try doing this too. So that Cupid's bow, just like I showed you in the nose video, is kind of like a J shape. And there is some shading above your lip. Just make sure to blend it out so you don't have noticeable pencil lines, otherwise it'll look like you have a mustache. Which there's nothing wrong with if you have a mustache in real life, but if you don't have one, you don't want to add one. Now I'm adding a chin and some shading around that. So a chin shape is pretty much a circle, and the jawline will kind of hold that chin in place. So I'm just adding some light value around that circle and blending it out. And on your chin, the highlight will typically be right in the center, depending on where the light is. But you will have a little bit of a shadow at the top of your chin, where it's kind of defined. And a little bit of shadow underneath your chin, where it's casting a shadow onto the rest of your face. Now I'm just adding some finishing touches to my lips, making sure that my values are showing contrast, just like I've been doing with all of my facial features. And really just fine-tuning all of my lines, because I don't want any harsh lines here. And there is my completed realistic mouth. Have fun, everybody.